Please don't take her. Gianna Clay's voice cracked as she pressed the baby monitor to her chest, the tiny screen glowing with her daughter's sleeping face. The sheriff's deputy at the door wouldn't meet her eyes. Rain soaked the brim of his hat as he held out an eviction notice, already curling at the edges. "Ma'am, I'm sorry," he muttered. "You got until morning." "Welcome back, family. Trust you all are doing well. Let's build this community together. Subscribe to get more of our video. Like and share to your loved ones. Thank you." Behind him, thunder rolled across South Dallas. Neon light from the corner liquor store flashed through the blinds. Open 24 hours, the only sign of life on a block gone dark. The power had been cut hours ago. The air smelled like dust and rain. Amelia's voice floated from the bedroom. "Mommy? Why is it so dark?" Gianna forced her tone calm. "It's just a game, baby. Go back to sleep." The deputy left. The door clicked shut, leaving silence thick enough to choke on. Gianna slid down to the floor, her knees drawn tight, staring at the eviction notice as if she could will the words to disappear. She didn't need a miracle, just $100. Enough to keep the lights on, to keep her little girl believing everything was okay. Her hand shook as she grabbed her phone. The battery was at 3%. She typed fast, thumb trembling. "I swear I'll pay you back Friday. I just need $100 before they shut it off. Please." She hit send before she could think, before she noticed the last digit was wrong. Across town, in a glass-walled penthouse high above the city, Grayson Luke paused mid-email when his phone buzzed. The message glowed on the screen, brief, raw, real. He didn't reply, but he didn't delete it either. The rain kept falling. In two very different rooms, two strangers stared at the same small light. One on a dying phone, one on a billionaire's desk, neither knowing that a single wrong number had already changed everything. Grayson Luke leaned back in his chair, the Dallas skyline glittering through the floor-to-ceiling glass behind him. From up here, the city looked quiet, beautiful, deceptively peaceful. He turned the phone over in his hand, thumb brushing over the message again. $100, a plea, a promise to pay it back. Nothing remarkable. And yet, it wouldn't leave him. His assistant's voice buzzed through the intercom. "Mr. Luke, the Singapore call's waiting." Harlan Price also sent over the foundation audit. "Reschedule," Grayson said flatly. "Sir, I said reschedule." He set the phone face down, but his reflection in the glass stared back. Sharp suit, tired eyes, a man who'd built a kingdom on silence. Somewhere in that reflection, a boy still hid under a motel bed while police boots thundered across the carpet. Sirens. Shouts. His mother's whisper, "Don't let them own you, Grayson." He blinked hard, the past dissolving into the present. Across the city, morning seeped through a cracked window as Gianna Clay knelt on the marble floor of Rosewood Mansion. Her knees ached. The scent of lemon polish filled the air. She wiped until the stone gleamed, unaware that the man whose reflection she scrubbed from that floor was the same one who'd read her message at midnight. Upstairs in his office, Grayson pulled up the staff roster. A face appeared, brown eyes, tired but unbroken. Gianna Clay, housekeeping part-time. His chest tightened, an echo of something dangerously close to empathy. Sometimes a story finds you when you least expect it. If this moment stirred something in you, that quiet ache of remembering what it means to care, stay with us. You might need to hear what comes next. Grayson closed the laptop slowly. The rain had stopped, but the silence it left behind was heavier than before. Midnight draped Dallas in silver rain. Streetlights flickered against puddles as Grayson Luke stepped out of the black Escalade, the hum of its engine cutting through the quiet. He shouldn't have been there. Billionaire CEOs didn't make unannounced stops at rundown apartment complexes. But something about that message wouldn't let him sleep. He carried 2 paper bags, groceries, a few essentials, a sealed envelope tucked beneath a loaf of bread. The hallway smelled of mildew and wet carpet. He found a number on the door, the paint peeling around it. Apartment 3B. When Gianna opened it, she looked half asleep, half afraid. Her sweatshirt hung loose on her shoulders, her eyes swollen from crying. "I'm from a local outreach program," Grayson lied smoothly. "We deliver supplies when someone reports a shutoff." Her brow furrowed. I didn't ask anyone to. Someone might have called for you. He interrupted gently. It happens. He placed the bags down at her feet. She hesitated, glancing inside. Milk, bread, canned soup. Essentials. Her throat worked, pride and need warring in her chest. I can't take this, she whispered. I don't take charity. It's not charity, he said. It's help. There's a difference. She didn't respond, just stood there, small, strong, breaking. Finally, Grayson stepped back. Keep them. Or don't. He turned and walked into the rain. From the doorway, Gianna watched the strange man disappear into the night. The tail lights of the Escalade flared red, then vanished beyond the trees. She knelt, touched the paper bag, and for the first time that week, felt something close to relief. In the car, Grayson sat motionless, staring at her text on his screen, the message that started it all. His jaw tightened. Something inside him shifted quietly and permanently. Morning light spilled across the polished marble of Rosewood Mansion, turning every surface into a mirror. Gianna Clay moved carefully, rag in hand, her reflection bending and breaking in the curves of the grand staircase. Her muscles ached from a night without sleep, but there was milk in the fridge now, cereal for Amelia. That was enough to keep her going. The air smelled of cedar and citrus cleaner. Somewhere upstairs, the faint hum of conversation drifted down. Executives, maybe your house staff. Gianna kept her head down, her focus steady. Then footsteps. When she looked up, Grace and Luke stood at the top of the stairs. No suit, just jeans, a gray sweater, and a face she had seen lit by lightning only hours ago. Her breath caught. The rag fell from her hand. He paused halfway down, reading her expression. For a moment, neither spoke. You, she whispered. Last night, that was you. Grayson's eyes softened, the look of a man who'd been caught, but not ashamed. I didn't mean to frighten you. You lied to me, she said, voice trembling. You said you were from an outreach program. I didn't know what else to say. Gianna crossed her arms, anger masking the burn of humiliation. Why? To feel good about yourself? To play savior? He shook his head slowly. No, because I know what it's like to ask for help and not get it. Her mouth opened, then closed. You shouldn't have to apologize for needing help, he added quietly. For a moment, her defenses cracked, just long enough for her to see the same loneliness in him that she carried herself. Then, she turned away, whispering, Please don't tell anyone. I won't, he promised. The silence between them was fragile, suspended somewhere between resentment and recognition. Two people standing on opposite sides of privilege, bound by one impossible truth. Outside, the rain had stopped, but the air still smelled like storms. The sun dipped low over Turtle Creek, spilling gold through the high-arched windows of Rosewood Mansion's administrative wing. The house was quiet, guests gone, staff thinning out for the day. Gianna Clay stayed behind to finish polishing the baseboards, her mind still replaying that morning's encounter with Grace and Luke. She hadn't meant to linger, but as she emptied a trash bin near the office desks, something caught her eye. Crisp white pages, crumpled but still legible. The letterhead read Luke Family Foundation, Annual Allocations Report. Gianna hesitated, then smoothed one of the pages open. Numbers, columns, donation amounts. All familiar from her short stint in bookkeeping before life had forced her into cleaning work. She frowned. The totals didn't match. Funds meant for Dallas shelters were listed as fully dispersed, yet the shelter she knew had been cutting programs for months. She flipped another page. Offshore transfers. Shell charities. The same name appeared on every approval line. Harlan Price, Chief Financial Officer. Her stomach turned cold. Footsteps echoed down the hall. She shoved the papers back into the bin just as Harlan appeared. Tall, pressed suit, smile, too sharp. Gianna, he said smoothly, You're not authorized to be in here. I was just cleaning, she replied, voice unsteady. He tilted his head. Of course you were. Then, almost casually, he added, You can collect your final check tomorrow. Housekeeping doesn't tolerate nosy staff. Her breath caught. You're firing me? For what? Misconduct, he said simply, already walking away. Consider this your notice. When the door shut, the room felt smaller, the walls closing in. Gianna sank to her knees beside the trash bin, tears welling, not from guilt but rage. She had seen the truth, and now she was being erased for it. Have you ever tried to do the right thing and lost everything for it? If you've ever been punished for being honest, keep watching. This story isn't just hers. It might be yours too. Gianna rose, trembling but resolute. Somewhere upstairs, Grace and Luke's world was built on trust, and she had just found the crack that could shatter it. The skyline burned orange as the sun sank behind downtown Dallas. Inside Luke Enterprises' 47th floor boardroom, the glass walls caught the reflection of a man on the edge of something he couldn't yet name. Grace and Luke stood at the head of the long marble table, sleeves rolled up, jaw tight. Across from him, Harlan Price leaned back in his chair, the picture of ease, polished, composed, dangerous. I heard you fired one of the house staff, Grayson said, voice low but edged with steel. Gianna Clay. Harlan didn't flinch. She was snooping through restricted files. Cleaning staff should stick to cleaning. She's a person, Grayson shot back. Not a problem to erase. Harlan's smirk barely shifted. With all due respect, she's just a maid. You're running an empire, not a charity. The words landed like a slap. Grayson stared at him, and for a second, saw not his CFO, but the kind of man who'd once looked down on him when he was a kid eating stale crackers in foster care. Get out, he said quietly. Harlan blinked. Excuse me. You heard me. When the door shut behind him, Grayson's composure cracked. He sank into his chair, opened his laptop, and pulled up the Luke Family Foundation accounts. Line by line, he traced the donations, shelters, outreach programs, schools. The numbers didn't add up. Millions gone. He remembered his mother's trembling hands, her voice whispering through cigarette smoke. Don't let them own you, Grayson. But they did. Somehow, without him noticing, they had. By midnight, the city lights had blurred through the glass, and the man who once ruled Dallas sat alone in a room built on lies. He closed the laptop, his reflection staring back, cold, hollow, resolute. Not anymore, he murmured. For the first time in years, Grayson Luke wasn't thinking about profit. He was thinking about redemption, and he knew exactly where to start. The knock came just after sunset. 3 sharp raps that made Gianna's stomach twist. She wiped her hands on a dish towel, opened the door, and froze. 2 strangers stood there, clipboards in hand, badges glinting under the weak hallway light. Miss Clay? We're with Child Protective Services. Her throat went dry. CPS? There must be a mistake. The woman's tone was gentle but firm. We received a report that your daughter may be living in unsafe conditions. Amelia peeked from behind Gianna's leg, clutching her stuffed bunny. The little girl's voice trembled. Mommy, what's happening? Gianna crouched, pulling her close. It's okay, baby. Mommy's right here. But her voice shook. The apartment was small, the lights dim, proof enough for anyone who didn't know how hard she'd fought to keep it. When the caseworker mentioned temporary placement, Gianna's knees buckled. Please, she whispered, just like that night weeks ago. Please don't take her. The air crackled with déjà vu. The same fear. The same helplessness. Only this time, headlights cut through the rain outside, and Grayson Luke stepped into the hall. He didn't say a word at first, just handed the caseworker a folder thick with documents, bank transfers, emails, a signed statement linking Harlan Price to the anonymous report. Your system's being used to punish a whistleblower, Grayson said evenly. You'll find every signature traces back to one man, and he no longer works for me. The silence stretched. The caseworkers exchanged glances, then nodded, promising to review the claim. When they left, Gianna collapsed against the doorframe, shaking. Grayson knelt beside her, resting a steady hand on her shoulder. I told you, he said softly. You don't have to fight this alone anymore. Amelia climbed into his lap without fear, her tiny fingers curling into his sleeve. For the first time, Gianna let herself cry, not from loss, but from the unfamiliar safety of being believed. Outside, the rain had stopped, but inside that small apartment, something new was beginning, fragile, real, unstoppable. The chandeliers of Rosewood Mansion blazed to life, scattering light across the polished mahogany table that had witnessed years of power plays and empty promises. But tonight was different. Tonight, Grayson Luke wasn't speaking as a CEO. He was speaking as a man ready to burn down his own empire to save what mattered. Board members filled the room, murmuring as they shuffled papers and adjusted ties. At the far end, Harlan Price strolled in, smooth as ever, flashing that familiar corporate smile. "Emergency meeting? Huh," he said lightly. "Couldn't this have waited for the quarterly?" Grayson didn't answer. He simply nodded to the assistant standing by the projector. The lights dimmed. Screens lit up, wire transfers, falsified donation records, offshore accounts, all signed under Harlan's name. At first, the CFO laughed. "Come on, Grayson. You can't seriously think." Grayson cut him off, voice cold and precise. "You use my foundation, the one meant to feed families, as your personal ATM. And when someone caught you, you try to destroy her." He tapped a key. A recording filled the hall. Harlan's voice, sharp and unmistakable. "She talks. She loses her kid. Simple as that." The room froze. Board members exchanged horrified glances. Harlan's smirk vanished, replaced by the first flicker of fear. Gianna sat quietly in the back, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. The same hall where she once scrubbed floors now echoed with the sound of her name, spoken in defense, not dismissal. When security entered, Harlan tried to protest, but no one listened. The handcuffs clicked shut like punctuation. Grayson turned to the room. "Every cent will go where it was meant to, and every name that helped bury it will answer for it." As the guards led Harlan away, Grayson's gaze found Gianna's, a quiet understanding passing between them. She had given him truth. He had given her justice. For the first time, Rosewood Mansion felt alive again, not with wealth, but with redemption. A soft hum of laughter and music drifted through Rosewood Mansion, now glowing warm with life instead of silence. The grand halls once filled with board meetings and guarded secrets now echoed with children's voices, staff chatter, and the rhythm of something rare, peace. Gianna Clay walked through the newly renovated West Wing, stopping to adjust a framed photo of smiling volunteers outside a Dallas shelter. The plaque beneath it read, "Luke Family Foundation, Director, Gianna Clay." She still wasn't used to seeing her name there. From a balcony, the sound of Amelia's giggles pulled her outside. The little girl leaned against the railing, wrapped in a red coat too big for her, eyes bright as the first firework cracked open over Turtle Creek. Grayson stood beside her, hands in his pockets, the winter wind tugging at his hair. "You're supposed to make a wish," Amelia whispered, glancing up. Grayson smiled faintly. "Already did." Gianna joined them, the glow of the fireworks painting soft color across her face. The city sparkled below, a reminder of everything they'd built. Not just wealth or reputation, but something far more fragile and real. Grayson looked at her then, his voice quiet beneath the sky's thunder. "It's been exactly a year since you texted me." She laughed softly, eyes misting. Guess it wasn't the wrong number after all. He reached for her hand, fingers interlacing easily, naturally, no walls left between them. "No," he said. "It was the best mistake of my life." When he kissed her, it wasn't grand or cinematic, just honest. The kind of love that grows in the cracks left by loss, watered by survival and grace. Above them, the fireworks bloomed like stars reborn, scattering light over the mansion, the creek, the city that had once forgotten them both. If you believe kindness still matters, if you believe one message, one act of courage can change everything, stay with stories like this one. Because sometimes miracles don't knock. Sometimes they arrive at midnight. Thank you for staying to the very end. Trust the story resonate with you. Like, subscribe, and share to make the video go viral. Thank you.